Good afternoon to everybody from the audience, for you uh, who are watching us here within this Zoom webinar as attendees. Welcome. Welcome also the people in the audience who are watching us on the YouTube stream. And of course, the warmest welcome to the directors of the films that were presented today within the competition section, Fascinations Experimental CZ, which means these are the newest Czech experimental films that we present at 24th Ji.hlava International Documentary Film Festival. The films were made public today morning, and they will be available for the whole week. So anyone of you just now watching, or of your friends who you would like to recommend the films, can watch them anytime during this following week. I'm very happy that I can welcome here 5 directors, and we will be discussing each film separately. Each Q&A will last approximately 15 minutes. I will speak firstly to Lea Petříková about her film After the Magician, then with Zbigněk Baladrán about his film Katastrof, then with Vladimír Turner about his film 14.4 V17.11 or November 17. We will discuss that later. Then we will have questions for Christoph Bruha about his film Resonar de Intersolaris, and then with Anežka Horová about her film Edible Water Bottles. Of course, also you from the audience, you who are attendees here in this Zoom webinar, you can ask questions as well. You can participate in the discussion. You can also say your remarks, your comments. So if you want to participate, just use the function raise hand. I will see that you want to speak, and I will unmute you and allow you to talk. So anytime you want to participate in the discussion, please feel free to raise the hand. This session is being recorded, and afterwards it will be also made public in this, the recording will be made public. And now we will continue with Vladimír Turner. Vladimír, welcome, and please help me with how I should correctly pronounce the title of your film in English.
Hi everybody. I'm sorry for the name of the film. Even I don't I don't remember it, or I didn't say it in English yet. So I guess it's 14.4 volts, 17th of November. And the name comes from the voltage of the gadget with which I made the effect of the whole movie, the kaleidoscopic mandala effect. So it's the electricity voltage of the gadget, and 17th November is the date of Czech Velvet Revolution, and that was the day when I made the original footage.
Yes. So first, because I would like you to elaborate in detail about how technically was the film made, because it's very interesting. But before that, please, if we can clear the circumstances. So you were shooting on November 17, when there was an anniversary of the Velvet Revolution, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And so what was like where you were standing? Does the place where you were have a certain meaning in connection to the revolution, or a certain meaning for you personally? So where it was, and yeah, what were the general circumstances during making the film?
Mm-hmm. So the background story is that each year I go to, I used to go to the anniversary of the celebration of the Czechoslovak Revolution, but each year, and I was usually documenting it in classical documentary way, making short videos for online magazines or typical documentary work. But each year I could see that it's becoming more and more kind of parody of celebrations, and it became kind of Czech Disneyland for anti-communist uh, opinions. I mean, in the media sphere and also physically on the celebrations, there are various groups who are in some way celebrating the anniversary, and then there are some groups who are kind of making counter protests because they don't agree even with the term that it was some kind of revolution. And each year I could see that it's getting more and more mixed, and people are getting lost in the history and the present, and the media manipulation about the event became just huge kind of right-wing kitsch. So this year I decided I had no idea how to document it because I was kind of tired out of it. And at the same time, it was the year when people started to throw eggs on President Miloš Zeman. And it was, so the original material was made, I'm not even sure, 4 or 5 years ago, and I didn't work with it for that time. So those were the protests where people started to be against our president, and people were getting a bit more and more angry. And I didn't. So I visited. I was in Prague, and I went to the main places which are historically important for the revolution. So it was Albertov, where all the students started to march. It was Wenceslav Square, which is the central square in Prague, where the biggest demonstrations historically take place. And I visited all the important places in Prague which are somehow connected to the anniversary. And at each spot I made several minutes of, I was shooting. It was like pure experiment. I really didn't know what outcome will come out of the video. And at each spot I made some classical documenting with a steady shot, and then I started to spin it. So at first I thought there will be our president visible or details of the whole event, and then it will start moving and mixing and getting psychedelic. But then I decided I will make it like simply formalistic film. So I guess without my description, it's not obvious where the original material comes from. But for me, I kind of I was calling it velvet goulash. My personal name for the movie is velvet goulash because I spent all the events in one goulash.
I see, and I think that solely this motive of moving in the endless circle again and again can be interpreted in several ways in connection with the uh, interpretation of the Velvet Revolution as is now present in our society, as you mentioned it at the beginning. So even if it wasn't your intention, I think that also in this formalistic outcome, we can really, it enables the viewer to think about what has been happening with the interpretation of the events. So now, please, could you um, really describe and if you can describe it to like audience, you know, so really describe it how you created these spinning pictures, and moreover it is obvious throughout the film that it's like a long-term observation, or that it is it consists of several shots from different time of the day, because then there is darker, and even dark in the end. So could you describe how you made it?
Mhm. Yeah, it's really easy. I actually I kind of felt ashamed that I'm even presenting it just in this way, because it was so easy to make it, and the outcome is kind of spectacular at the first sight. But I guess I'm sorry, I'm not sure if it's visible in the end of the film or not, because I couldn't describe if I will show the gadget, the tool at the end of the film or not. But the whole tool was driller with big battery, with big accumulator, and I took GoPro camera, and I with gaffer tape, with no professional stuff, I put the camera in the center of the driller, so the lens of the camera was perfect, kind of perfectly centered with the gaffer tape in the center of the driller, and I took a plate that you usually use with the driller if you want to grind something, like grinder plate, and on the grinder plate I just glued the camera. So, and I was walking with a driller in the city, like with a pistol. That looked quite scary. The whole process was kind of strange, because I was walking in the city and pointing to, like, towards the president and towards the surroundings with a driller like this. And it was a driller with GoPro camera, which was on at the end of the driller. And I was just changing the speed of the driller, so the analog glitch, that the fact that the GoPro camera is not able to stabilize the frame anymore makes different types of errors and glitches. But the main thing is that the velocity of the spin is totally destroying the image into these psychedelic kaleidoscopic mandala effects. So there is like no digital post-production, there is just editing. Sometimes you can hear the sound of the driller. Sometimes I lowered it, but that's the whole trick. So it was really easy. I'm and the process was kind of interesting, because it looked really like I want to make some conflict, because it looked a bit strange that I'm pointing a driller towards the people. So it was kind of experiment, because I visited like ultra conservative Christian part of the anniversary. Then I visited this like anti-president rally. Then I went to the anarchist counter protest, and each time there was different strange. There was this performative aspect of the event.
Okay, so I'm happy that you are in good health, and nothing serious happened to you, because that has to be really quite a strange situation, probably in this context. So the speed of the turning is still the same in each shot.
No, I change it with the driller. You can change it with the intensity, how strong you push the button. You
Uh-huh.
change the speed of the driller. So
Mm-hmm.
at some points it's just blurred, and at some points when you put it on the maximum velocity, it starts to make this kaleidoscopic effects. Which
Mm-hmm.
later on I found out that the most interesting is when you record your face, because the camera is still stuck on the center of the place of the face on the nose, but your head is still rounded. But at some point you have got 8 eyes or 16 eyes. So I would like to try it more with faster and more quality driller, which is faster, and I'm working on a few more hardware glitch machines. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of a parody of all the modern gimbals and stabilizers.
Yeah, because it was the most visible at the beginning, because we really see the normal surroundings, and then we see how it starts to spin, and then it is really completely abstract and unrecognizable, like where you are. But then we can recognize, for example, that the time is changing because there is more and more dark. So I will again ask our attendees if somebody wants to ask a question to Vladimir about his film, or maybe somebody from our participants. Then I will say thank you, Vladio, for your film and for revealing the high-tech technology you used to make it. And it's really I think that it's really great that you was trying to find a new way how to grab the moments from this day that you are being observing for that you have observed for so many years repeatedly, the November 17th, which is really an important date in our calendar, and now you used a completely different technique, and I really imagine a person on this memorial the demonstrations, there a person with the driller going and, and pointing it on a certain people or places. So it's really not only the film is the outcome, but also your performative act making the film is part of the whole artwork, I think. So thank you.